LakelandCarKeys.com. We're currently working on a 2019 GMC Terrain. We are going to do a E39A PCM cloning. So we are using the OBDSTAR DC706. This one just needed the basic P004 adapter, and we hooked up two powers, ground, a can high and a can low. And as you can see right now, I am currently connected to the PCM. So I'm going to try to make this one real fast. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read the EEPROM. That usually takes, a couple of seconds. Go through, read it. So that's already finished. Alright, so right there it tells us the EEPROM is not responding. They had a no ignition issue with this PCM, so it's possible that this one's not good. So let me see if it'll let me read the flash. If I'm unable to pull the EEPROM in the flash from this PCM, it will need to be flashed with GMSPS. Alright, and then it also tells me the flash is not responding. Alright, so I just disconnected in the DC706 and reconnected and tried to read the EEPROM again, and I was able to read the flash. So I'm going to go ahead and save this file. That was the EEPROM, and then I'm going to go ahead and read the flash. Now the flash usually takes, in between 5 and 10 minutes to fully read, but it is reading. So I think initially we just had a connection issue, even though it said we were connected. Something wasn't right. So again, I disconnected, reconnected with, the connection buttons on the screen. And we are currently reading the flash, so we should be good to clone all this information onto the new PCM. So this is going to take maybe about 5 minutes, so I'll go ahead and cut the video, try to keep it short, and I'll cut back in with the new PCM. Alright, and this is the PCM that we're going to clone the files to. This looks like it's a brand new AC Delco unit. So what we'll do is when we hook up to this, we're going to read and back up these virgin files. It's always good to have a good database of virgin files, just in case you ever run into a situation where, maybe you have to flash a used junkyard PCM or something and you want it virginized. These are the good files to have. So I will hook up this, read these files, and save it as, E39 virgin file, and I'll tag that number in the file name so that later on in the future I'll know what it is. Alright, so we're getting down to the end of reading the flash file from this. So alright, we're gonna just go ahead and save this flash file. Alright, and then we can just go ahead and disconnect that. Alright, so I'll unhook the wires and hook up the new replacement and begin to back up those files. Alright, so we got the new unit here that's already hooked up. So we're going to go ahead and connect. Now you do need to be connected to a good Wi-Fi source when you're initially connecting to these vehicles. And then it's going through security verification, so it does go online. Alright, so this one gave us a security verification error, so I'm going to do the same thing what I did before, is where I powered off, powered back on, and then try to reconnect. Alright, so again, I just powered on, powered off. Maybe I'll have to make that a habit in between switching, but I am connected, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to read this EEPROM. Alright, so at the very end, I'm going to put, let me see, space. So I just labeled that as a virgin file. Alright, click OK. Alright, and now we're going to go ahead and read the flash again. And it'll probably take me a good 5 to 6 minutes to read this flash, so I'll cut the video out. But once this is done, I'll save that as the virgin file, and then we will go ahead and flash in the old PCM flash file and then the old PCM EEPROM. Alright, so we're getting down to the end of reading this virgin flash file. And then again, I'm just going to go ahead and edit this file name. And just add virgin to the end of it. Okay, so now what we want to do is go ahead and load the original flash. So remember, the difference between the flash and the EEPROM is the flash is the operating system, the EEPROM is the program. So if you were working on your computer, you would install Windows first, because Windows is the operating system, and then you would install Microsoft Word, which is the program. So we're going to go ahead and write flash. We're going to load external data. All right, and then we're going to go and read. This is the flash file that we read from the original computer. So we're going to go ahead and load that. And then this will go through the writing process. And again, that should take about 5 minutes. I'll cut the video out and come back when we're done, and we can load the original EEPROM. That should write within seconds, and then we'll be done cloning, and we can plug this into the vehicle, and it should ideally just start right up and go. Alright, so we're getting to the last couple percent of writing the original PCM's internal flash into the new PCM. Alright, so that was written successfully. So now we want to do the same thing with the EEPROM. So we're going to go into write internal EEPROM, load external data. Okay. And then this is the original EEPROM file that we wrote. Alright, okay. And alright, a matter of 6 seconds. Alright, so this should be complete. So we're going to go ahead and hit disconnect. Yes, and then we can power off the unit. And I didn't mention earlier, but on the P004, which we're connecting to, has this red switch with lines 1 and 2, and these are the 120 ohm resistors for the can high and can low, and we did have them turned on. So if you were doing something else and didn't have this OBDSTAR adapter and you were bench flashing, you would tie 120 ohm resistor in line with your can high and your can low. The P004 does it automatically with a flip of the switch. So I did plug in, and it did not start. The key's fine. There is some type of communication issue where it seems like the PCM is not powering on. I plugged the old PCM back in and got the same results. So I hooked up, this is the new PCM, and I hooked up to my Go Diag. I can see I got CAN communications. I'm able to pull the VIN number, so I know what I wrote did actually write. So they have a communication issue somewhere going in this car, and it's going to need some further diagnosis. They believe the PCM was the issue, and That more than likely is not the case. Yeah, so, I'm not a mechanic. I don't dive too deep into, these issues, but, we were able to use our P004, plug it directly into our Go Diag box, where, it will give us LED indications of what's going on. We got power, ground, communication. That's everything that should tell us that, this PCM's on, it's talking. But when I hooked it up to my AutoFix, I did, go to connect to the engine control module, and it tells me there's no communication. Now, I could communicate with the body control module. I did a full system scan. All the other modules came up, but there was no communication to the engine control module. So there's an issue going on somewhere here. Not sure if it's power or if it's something on the CAN bus, but yeah, they just need to go over everything and double check. So one thing I did notice is when I originally first powered it on, you could hear some type of humming and fast clicking. So, it might be a bad ground wire, it might be a loose connection, or something's backwards. But yeah, so they originally actually just installed the motor in this car, so there's a real high probability that there's a bad connection somewhere. But this is flashed. We were able to verify the information with the laptop, and we do got power, we got communication. All right, LakelandCarKeys.com.